Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. Want to improve your organization's customer service? Looking for insider tips to knock your customer socks off? Then you're in the right place. Here's your host, Yannick Grant.
Welcome to Navigating the Customer Experience. On today's episode, our guest is Jay Sapovitz. Jay is a resilient and visionary entrepreneur whose career is defined by an uncanny ability to turn challenges into opportunities. At 18, he made a bold cross-country move to attend UNLV, setting the stage for a lifetime of unconventional, trailblazing decisions. With a natural talent for connecting with people and a relentless drive, Jay has repeatedly reinvented himself, embracing each new venture with creativity, adaptability, and determination. So without further delay, sit back, plug your earphones in, and let's jump right into this conversation with Jay. Welcome, Jay.
Yannick, thank you. Appreciate the introduction. It's almost like I wrote
Awesome. We always like to start our interviews off with our guests by giving them an opportunity to share a little about their journey in your own words.
Yeah,
If you could
that
just
all
take a few
happens.
minutes and share that with us.
Yeah, my journey's it's a crazy journey. It's cross country and filled with celebrity and being exposed to wealth that I did not grow up being exposed to at a very early age, and just kind of moving forward and taking action against my own experience. And I don't exactly know how to put my life into words, but a lot of people think that, their life could be a movie. I can assure you mine can be. It's like it's very action oriented and filled with a lot of high profile and interesting characters.
Awesome. All right. Now, Jay, can you just kind of give us a little overview of what you're currently actively working on in your life now?
Company's called Inc. Stores.
Mm-hmm.
We're a full service promotional company that specializes in on-demand web stores. So we build, host, manage, and fulfill company and organization merch and swag stores where companies hire us to essentially host their website for merchandise, and we produce items with no inventory or no commitments or no cost to drop ship anywhere in the world to their constituents. So that's our business. That's Inc. Store. That's what we do. That's what I'm working on now, and really have been since COVID. We were a conventional promotional company prior to COVID. We had a retail storefront. You could walk in, get one T-shirt made. But, when COVID hit, the retail side of the business went goodbye. And we had to figure out a new way to operate and do business online. And we quickly reinvented ourselves by building swag stores and came up with a model to do it. My Inc. has always been about creating an opportunity for the little guy, even though we do serve a lot of bigger clients. They always say if you're going to start a business, start it with the problem that you have and find a solution for the problem. And chances are that somebody else has that problem. And for me, that problem was I was the operator of small businesses, and it was really hard for me to get anything embroidered or screen printed or decorated because everything had minimums, and I might not have met the minimum quantity. And when we came along, I just said, we're not going to have any minimums. So we specialize in no minimum production. And, what invariably happens is, the people you start with that like the fact that you don't have minimums grow. And then as they grow, you grow. So yeah, that's what I'm working on today.
Perfect. Now, I always like to ask our guests if they could maybe give us a use case of a client that they have. You don't need to mention the customer's name, but just kind of show us how it is that you have managed to, as you mentioned, solve that problem for the customer, navigated an experience for them that made the customer experience better for their end user. Because at the end of the day, we're all trying to just do business and have pleasant experiences, less friction, no hassle. And unfortunately, that's not the case consistently with all businesses. So how has your company managed to stand out and set yourself apart in that sphere?
It's a good question. I'll give you a very, very specific example that recently happened to us over the holidays. A client of ours came to us, and somebody in their sphere had been working with them to sell them a swath of unisex jackets of a name brand. And then what we had, and they would, so essentially in doing that, they would internally gather everybody's size, men's and ladies. Unisex means there's one size to the jacket, and then in the one color, they would order those items to be decorated and shipped to the company, and then the company would send them out to each of their employees.
Right.
What we did is we gave them an online portal. So basically, it's a website, a web store, where the same jacket could be offered in multiple colors. They approved the colors, men's and ladies' cuts, and they didn't have to do anything administratively. They sent the link out to their employees. We gave them a deadline to order by. Obviously, people missed the deadline, so when we closed it, we opened it back up for a few hours. Other people ordered. We then closed it. The company approved all of the individuals who ordered through the portal. And then we drop shipped to them immediately to, not immediately, but after production, to each individual person who programmed their own color, size, style, and address, with the company not administering any of it except for confirming that the people on the list were the correct people and approving the order in total when it was ready to go. So we did that for a holiday pop-up, and it's essentially a build out of what we do on an everyday basis.
Wow, that's brilliant. All right.
Yeah, because I think it's incredibly uncomfortable. The biggest pain point that I've heard, or at least one of them, from folks in physical HR, like in the office with their colleagues, is they'll get swag in and their colleagues will come and they'll try it on whatever the piece is in front of them. And then they'll, when you try something on, you'll say, well, how do you think this looks? Or how do you think this feels? I mean, we just live in a world where that's just not a question that anybody wants to receive anymore. And there's no win in it. So there's zero. So now HR directors and people managers and coordinators, they don't have to go through the hell of try-on experiences in front of them because people are programming their own size. And not to mention, I've had more than one HR person tell me, this person ordered a large when they really need a 2XL, and they're just embarrassed to order. Well, they're embarrassed to order the size they really need. And these manufacturers don't do women any justice. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I know from my own experience, my wife's a small woman. And, sometimes she'll tell me the size that she's wearing. And I'm like, what? I can't, the cuts are so narrow. You almost have to not eat to be a 0 through 4. It's crazy. So I don't understand what these clothing manufacturers, it's like women are their number one audience. And it's like they ideologically and psychologically treat them with disdain by putting these unrealistic numbers on sizes that, especially, in a middle to older workforce, few wear. Younger companies, sure, they wear their clothes tighter. So, because they're younger. When we talk about those things with our clients, if you have a young workforce, you're going to have more smalls and mediums. And it's not always because they're smaller. It's just they wear their clothes differently than, I know, even me, I'm a little baggy today. So
definitely generational. I quite agree.
Yeah, there you go. So all these conversations are not meant to be had in HR. and we take those conversations away unique.
Mm-hmm. All right, brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, now, Jay, could you share with us what's the one online resource, tool, website, or application that you absolutely can't live without in your business?
In my email.
Email. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to kid that I run my business like I'm a stock trader. I mean, people email me and you know, like I'm locked up with you and I are having a conversation for a little bit of time right now. That'll be the longest somebody goes without getting an answer from me. I'm crazy on my email. I mean, it's like a constant back and forth. It's if you email me, you could get an answer in seconds, not
That's
minutes.
awesome. It's funny you said that because pre-COVID, the global standard for email response time was 24 hours, and post-COVID, it's now 1 hour. So it's great
Oh,
that you're
interesting.
responding in seconds.
Yeah, my lifetime has been like that. So I don't know if I ever fit into any of those surveys.
All right. Could you also share with our listeners maybe one or two books that you've read? It could be a book that you read a very long time ago, or
Mhm.
even one that you've read recently, but it has had a positive or a profound impact on you.
Sure. Two books. One is there's two. One is Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty,
Hmm.
which is an excellent book about um, creating a network before you have a need to use that network,
Okay.
and incredibly insightful. And the other is, and this is my absolute favorite book, favorite author. I wrote to him offline once, and he wrote me back with a signed copy of the book. It changed my life. It's called How to Become a Rainmaker by Jeffrey Fox. And it's this tiny little, I don't even think it's 115 pages, maybe it is, but 100 and some page book. Each chapter is 2 to 3 pages, big words, so easy to read, easy on the eyes, which is more relevant now than when I read it 25, 26 years ago. Yeah, but it's all about selling. A lot of it's, what you would consider to be common sense, but he kind of just punches you right in the nose with it. And it's like, well, that makes sense. Well, that means just
Hmm.
constantly that makes sense. So, I'll get in conversations. I interview a lot of people. I mean, like for jobs and for onboarding, and I have my own podcast and I'll be on interviews like this. When I'm in sales interviews and I interview a lot of like early stage or young candidates, I always tell them, get that book. That book will change your life. If you follow what that book tells you to do, how to become a rainmaker, you will become a rainmaker. And Jeffrey Fox is a brilliant author who makes it super easy on an audience he knows has very little attention span, salespeople. So that's my suggestion.
Perfect. All right. So we'll have both those books in the show notes of this episode for our listeners to tap into those awesome resources. Now, we're halfway through 2025, Jay, and there are a lot of, customer service trends, I would say high expectations that customers have. You're in the United States, correct?
Yes.
And there's a lot happening, politically in the United States that's impacting your global partners, throughout the world.
Yes.
In terms of just as a business person and in terms of trying to stay competitive with how the market is operating, in the next 6 months, moving into 2026, if there are three things that you could focus on, moving into the remainder of 2025 into 2026, what would those three things be?
So maybe I'll get to three, but it's for me, I mean, honestly, so talking to my customers, my clients, right? I'd say keeping up with, keeping up with trends and focusing on my employees and the people who work for and with me. Um, I don't really focus on outside issues. I've communicated a bunch. I put it on my LinkedIn. I've told all my customers I'm not raising prices. People are raising prices to me every day. I'm getting assaulted by a lot of my partners
Assaulted.
and assaulted. I'm literally getting assaulted. Yeah, that's how I view it. 100%, no question about it. I mean,
Hmm.
these are companies that I do business with that I've treated incredibly well. I mean, I've given them millions of dollars in business in the last few years. And, we had a tariff announcement and they announced they were raising prices without hesitation. And then the tariff got put on pause and they didn't rescind the tariff price increase. I mean, I don't know what you call it, but they're coming after my pocketbook. I call it assault. So, like, and I've told them this to their face. So I've said to my clients, I said, if you're loyal to me, your price isn't going up, your price is coming down. So I'm getting barraged by price increases, and I'm not only not increasing my prices, I'm lowering to the people who are consistent with me, who are sticking with me, who are sticking with promo items, which are in a lot of cases nice to have or ideological that they want to continue on that trend. I'm trying to make them be able to do business in a way that's a softer and gentler way than a lot of people in my space are doing, where, they're opportunists. I'll give you a perfect example. I live near an outdoor concert venue. Are you familiar with outdoor concert venues?
Yes, I am.
Very good. So I drove by the outdoor concert venue yesterday. They were having a concert. Parking in a specific lot last year for events was $40. This year, it's $60.
Wow.
Why?
Did they repave the asphalt? I don't know.
Because they're opportunistically gouging people, because people have gotten into the mindset that it's everything's more expensive today than it was yesterday. They didn't repave the asphalt. They didn't make it easier for you to leave. You think they gave the 3 people who work in that parking lot? No, let's say there's 100 cars that go in there, moderately.
Mm-hmm.
If there's 100 cars that go in there and they raise the price by $20, what percentage of that increase in revenue do you think they gave the 3 people who parked those cars?
Probably none.
Very little, if any. Correct. So their costs haven't gone up, but yet they want to charge you more because you're used to paying more because everything else is more expensive.
They're
I mean,
they're
forget
they're
you.
basically riding the back of
Yes,
this. Yeah.
correct. So I'm going the other direction. I'm telling my clients, I'm telling my customers, if you continue to order promotional items from me, you're not going to have a price increase, and you may have a price decrease.
That's
It just,
good.
to me, is good business.
Hmm.
So
And it's the opposite of what everyone else is doing, which
I
should
just,
hopefully, increase some retention and loyalty.
I try not to go crazy with the daily swings of politics, with the daily swings of the news. I don't watch it. I don't turn it on. I don't read it. All the words on my X feed and other social media are blocked. I just have no interest in it. My life is going to be impacted. The people in my circle and in my world's life is going to be impacted by the 3 things that I shared with you. And those 3 priorities a lot more than they're going to be shared by any politician. And, I've always kind of felt that they're all the same, no matter any letter by their name. And every day that I live, and I'm not young, I get proven correct. So
Hmm.
I just
All
don't pay
right.
attention. I pay attention to what matters, and what matters is not outside my arm's reach. I promise.
Amazing. All
Thanks.
right. Thank you so much for sharing, Jay. Now, what's the one thing that's going on in your life now that you're really excited about? Either something you're working on to develop yourself or your people.
Well, I'm in the process of talk about develop myself. I'm in the process of interviewing um, candidates to help us develop more formal and advanced technology to aid our customer experience and our sales and service prospect
Okay.
prospects. So hard. I'm doing things that I'm uncomfortable in. I'm very comfortable interviewing somebody to see if they could potentially be an account manager or a sales rep or a customer service rep.
Mm-hmm.
But um, interviewing and speaking to potential developers or data science engineers or computer science engineers or AI technicians
Mm-hmm.
is not something I'm particularly comfortable with. But I have a career and lifetime of being uncomfortable. So this is just one more aspect of it, unique.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Jay. Now, our listeners would have tapped into this episode and they're quite intrigued with you and your journey and your organization, and they'd like to follow you online. Where's the best place that they can find you online?
I post every day on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
My handle is JSAP, JAYSAP. So I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. I post every day and it's non-AI. It's funny. As much as I like to lean into AI and do like AI and believe in the technology, I don't believe in it at the content level. I actually write 100% of my content, original content, on LinkedIn, and I post every day, 7 days a week, and have for the entire year. And then, I do have a podcast, JSAP Chats, on YouTube, which I interview entrepreneurs similar to myself, action oriented folks who are doers, some successful, others not yet, or so, and try to tell their story in a way that's never been told before, which is kind of going back to their how this all happened phase, from where were you born and starting from there and taking it from that point. So lots of info on me online.
All right, awesome. So we'll have the links to your different platforms that you're available on, definitely for LinkedIn, since you're pretty active on that one on a daily basis,
I am.
to our listeners if they'd like to connect with you online. Now, before we wrap our episodes up, we always like to ask our guests, do you have a quote or a saying that during times of adversity or challenge, you'll tend to revert to this quote? If for any reason you get derailed or you get off track, the quote kind of helps to get you back on track.
I don't know if it's a quote, but I have a fortune cookie saying taped underneath my computer, and actually sits right here on the verge of my computer, and it says, "If you promise someone something, keep it."
Simple, but very powerful.
Yeah, life is a series of doing the simple things right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this deal is. If you
I
promise
like
someone
that.
something, keep it. That's
Yeah.
so yeah. So I have yeah, that's what I have. It's right here.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
you said, go again, what you said. I like the last, when you were explaining the fortune cookie, you said life is a series of doing the simple
Yeah,
things, right?
it's just doing a series of simple things. Yeah, next right thing. It's just doing the next
Yeah.
right thing over and over and over. Look,
I like that.
here's the reality of my life. We've all done wrong in our life, right? And I'll take it down to the level of going 60 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone, right? Speeding, right?
Mm,
We've all done wrong in our life. There has not, maybe a handful of times. I'm 53. There's maybe been a handful of times when I've done wrong and not known I've been doing wrong.
mm-hmm.
You all know when you're doing the wrong thing. So just do the next right thing. And if you do the series of the next, and we all do wrong, but if you do the next right thing, your life is gonna be better than if you make those decisions that are not the decision that you should be making. So I don't think it's a function of, oh, like I made a mistake. It's like, no, you made a conscious choice and you knew it was wrong. So I do believe we know right from wrong at a
Mm-hmm.
very base, simple level. We
Mm-hmm.
just make choices to do the wrong thing instead of doing the right thing. So if you start stacking up the right decision, good things eventually will come from it. It's when you start stacking up the wrong thing, and that's when bad things come from it. So
Yeah, that's
not
true.
hard, not hard formulas, Unique.
No, they're not. They're not. All right. Well, Jay, I really enjoyed our
Me
conversation.
too.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy day to hop on our podcast, Navigating the Customer Experience, and share a little bit about your journey, your organization, the problems that you're solving, the things that you're going to be focusing on, and just why you think it's important to ensure that you're helping people to achieve their goals and helping them to realize the initiatives that they have set forth. Your organization is helping them to get that much closer to that particular realization of that goal. So I enjoyed our conversation, and I just want to say thank you again.
Thank you, Unique.
Just want to remind our listeners that you can join our private Facebook group, Navigating the Customer Experience Community, and feel free to follow us on X at Navigating CX. Until next time, I'm your host, Yannick Grant.
Thanks for listening. For more awesome resources to take your customer service game to another level, head over to navigatingthecustomerexperience.com. See you next time.